I wanted to talk about masking because masking is a word that is used a huge amount in the autistic community, in the neurodivergent community as a whole. And perhaps either people haven't been explained to what it means, or maybe people have got an idea of what it is, but might not know exactly what it is. Now, masking might appear to sound like completely covering up being autistic. That thing of, I'm autistic, I'm not autistic. I'm autistic, I'm not autistic. That sort of feeling, right? But actually, it's a lot more complex than that. A huge amount of complexity. Now, why is this a subject that is worth talking about? Well, I heard a study the other day from a documentary that found that autistic women are so much better at masking than men that the sort of like the diagnosed ratio is 20 men to 1 woman, but the true ratio is actually 2 men to 1 woman. A huge amount of undiagnosed women and girls who are autistic. And what makes it doubly sad is that thanks to, in a sense, this incredible skill of masking that is incredibly tiring mentally, autistic women are 8 times more likely to take their own life than autistic men. Let me say that again. Autistic women are 8 times more likely to take their life than autistic men. And that's why, for me, it's hugely important that we raise awareness for what masking is, so that we can maybe identify areas of the environment where of society where maybe we can create unmasking safe zones. Areas where someone can truly be themselves without a fear of being judged. And I have to say, it's that fear of being judged. You might be, watching this stream going, but I don't judge anyone. What do we do? It's the fear of being judged. That sort of thing where you just have that thing in the back of your mind that just goes, no one's going to be interested in this, or this is going to be too weird. Even though it might not be true, you still have that fear. What do we do to combat that fear, basically? And maybe talking about masking might help. So I mentioned that masking might, it sounds like it's that cover up of the mask. The fact is, perhaps there's only elements of masking. And this might sound like a really bad analogy. And by the way, there's going to be a lot of bad analogies in here, but bear with me. I'm autistic trying to explain autism to non-autistic individuals. And it's my feelings, so it might not be correct. But for me, it's that thing of I don't know if anyone's watched the Phantom of the Opera, and there's a lot of people, and it's a lot. It happens a lot in Venice, of these masquerade balls where they cover up half of their face or 3/4 of their face, parts of their face, not the entire face. There's still something showing, but they're gonna show only some of it. And in a sense, that is what autistic masking is. We're still showing a little bit of ourselves. But by being aware of the rules of chatting, maintain eye contact, When someone says, how are you doing? You go, I'm fine. How are you? And the small talk rules, right? Knowing what to say to the cashier at a shop, knowing what, for a lot of neurotypical non-autistic individuals, these things come naturally as part of social instinct. But for a lot of autistics, we may have to put those rules in our head. We have this huge list that we go through, right? And so because of that, even if we're talking what seems like naturally, it's still a bit robotic, right? That's just how it is. Okay. So that would be the way to explain it. Now, useless analogy number 2. I want you to imagine it's not masking, but improv acting. In fact, not just improv acting, but permanent improv acting. Now, I'm going to use 2 sci-fi individuals here, right? Ewan McGregor in Star Wars, aka Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Patrick Stewart in Star Trek, aka Jean-Luc Picard. Now, I think we can safely say that if we looked at Ewan McGregor and Patrick Stewart, we'd automatically put this thing of, Ewan McGregor, we can easily imagine you being Obi-Wan Kenobi. Patrick Stewart, we can easily imagine you being Jean-Luc Picard. But I want you to imagine that, let's say George Lucas went up to Ewan McGregor and said, hey, Ewan, you do Obi-Wan Kenobi amazingly. How about you be Obi-Wan Kenobi for the year? Not just in films, but in your day-to-day life. Anyone that says hello to you, you respond with hello there in the Obi-Wan style fashion. You use the phrases, you become Obi-Wan Kenobi for the year. How long into that year would it be before Ewan McGregor went, but I might be Obi-Wan Kenobi, but Obi-Wan Kenobi isn't me. I have so much more to talk about that people might not fully recognise when they talk to me. That almost that sort of actor that they only known for one thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that when it comes to autistic individuals. We play this character of a non-autistic, non-weird individual in life. So much so that we struggle to be able to show our real selves. And it is a real challenge. A real challenge. We might even have different masks for different occasions. I can say it for myself personally. I have what I would perceive as masks for every scenario in my life, probably including being at home. I have a mask that I wear for my work colleagues. A bit of a jokey but caring individual, very much into the banter, but when stuff gets serious, we help out, right? And don't get me wrong, there's elements of that is me, but there's elements of that isn't quite me. Same with family. I hide a bit of myself. Now, that's not saying that I'm being two-faced or anything like that. I'm literally just trying to hide what might be weird to other people. People might not know this, but when I have excitement, the automatic thing I want to do is clap. Like the giddy clapping, right? Or when I'm anxious, I do a lot of not biting the lip, but using my tongue to put pressure on the lip going in. I used to do a lot of putting the pen on my upper lip, right? It was like sort of gentle thinking phase, right? And I don't really show it that much. Now, for some people, maybe showing the unmasked individual would be too much. We accept that. But what happens is to an autistic individual is because we accept that a lot of non-autistic people perhaps wouldn't accept our fully unmasked selves, we then change it to no one would accept our unmasked selves. And like I mentioned when it came to Ewan McGregor and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Patrick Stewart and Jean-Luc Picard, we'd get tired of being that character. We're in character all the time. And this is where it gets interesting, is the fact that I've even gone into the stage, quite recently actually, where I am seriously wondering if I've ever unmasked. It might sound daft, that. Let me explain what I mean. Thanks to bullying at school and things like that, none of which I could imagine on anyone, I've had to mask as part of a survival tactic. I've done it since I was 5. And so I've been acting to try and not get as much bullying as I would if I was unmasking. And then when I went into work, because it was a more intense environment, more of the mask was put on. And slowly it's been breaking away. I know that. I know that I'm starting to show a little bit more of my autistic self. But the fact is because of all that, because I started masking so young, I'm not even sure I recognise what I'd be like unmasked. I don't think even I've seen the unmasked me. Now that's scary, because I try and think about that. If I was to go to someone and say, this is what I'm like unmasked, I should have a pretty good idea of what that's like. What am I like when stimming? What am I, I've not really seen it. What is it like? And like I say, it's hugely important. Mental health is at stake here. Do you remember the old computers where there'd be huge amounts of rubbish on it to the point where you would have to do a defrag to clear it out so that it would run quicker, so it'd run better? In a sense, that's what unmasking is. It's clearing out the rubbish. And it's important to get that refresh. So I'm going to finish off this video by simply giving out some kindness and love to all of you. If you are not autistic, and maybe you've got a friend or a family member who is autistic, and maybe, just maybe, they might show a trait that you've not seen before, and that might originally appear to you as a bit weird. Before you have your instinctive reaction, have a think about this. That weird action from them could be them unmasking. Them unmasking shows that they trust you. They love you. They care for you. Now, anyone in this world knows it is hard to build up trust and very easy to break it. Your reaction to their weird traits could be crucial to whether you start to see more of the real person, the real friend, or whether they go back to masking and you don't ever see it again. Now, look, there's obviously limits, right? If someone on masking is doing aggressive behavior or anything like that, then fair enough. But do what you can to allow them to unmask further, to allow them to be themselves further. And to my autistic friends, no matter where you are on this journey, whether you are deep in the masking territory because you're in a very hostile environment, or maybe you're starting to come to grips that you might need to unmask to show more yourselves, or maybe you're trying unmasking for the first time, or you're starting to show it to a new person for the first time. Know that I freaking adore you, that I appreciate your efforts, and that you can do this. There are people in this world that appreciate the real person, appreciate someone showing the real person. And maybe you won't find the right community, the right friendship now, but certainly by being yourself, you will be able to find the community for you. A community that will appreciate you, that will show care for you, even if they don't fully understand what it is you're doing, what it is you're saying, what it is. They just appreciate you. They see the person underneath. They know your personality and know what you are like. All of you are appreciated just for watching this video, because by watching this video, you've spent the time to try and understand the world a bit better, to try and understand yourselves a bit better. And so for that, I thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube, follow if you're on Twitch, and goodbye.